Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, Mike Lindell sent me a note yesterday. He has a special for the 6-piece towel set, $25 when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. You'll get the $25 offer on the 6-piece towel set, and I promise you, these will be the most comfortable, the most absorbent towels that you own. mypillow.com, use promo code Joey, get the 6-piece towel set for just $25. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome and good morning on this Thursday morning edition of Sunrise Carolina. Your comments are always welcome on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line, 71307. I love your emails, joey@joeyhudson.com. Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance told Kamala Harris to go to hell during a campaign rally in Erie, Pennsylvania yesterday afternoon. I have the full details for you. In a rare instance of a Supreme Court justice speaking publicly about a previous decision of the court, Ketanji Brown Jackson told CBS News, "I was concerned about the Trump immunity ruling." We'll talk about that as well. CNBC host clashed with a Harris campaign economic advisor over unrealized gains tax proposal that the Harris campaign rolled out this past week, calling it unconstitutional. And the U.S. Supreme Court again rejects the Biden-Harris attempt to cancel student loan debt. Finally, after promising to finish his term strong, Joe Biden has been vacationing since speaking to the DNC in Chicago. The lame duck president is in the middle of back-to-back vacation.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
Donald Trump's vice presidential candidate, J.D. Vance, made headlines yesterday as he pointedly told Vice President Kamala Harris to simply go to hell. This during a campaign rally in Erie, Pennsylvania. Vance reacted to criticism after former President Donald Trump attended a memorial at Arlington National Cemetery this past Monday. The President Trump was there in honor of the slain 13 Americans, the service members who lost their lives during the disastrous exit from Afghanistan. Democrats criticized the Trump campaign for taking photos and video at the cemetery. Campaign staff reportedly clashed with a cemetery official who tried to stop them. But Donald Trump and his team are hitting back at claims that his trip included an altercation. An official with the cemetery tried to physically block members of Trump's team, according to Stephen Chung, a Trump campaign spokesperson. In a statement, Chung said, "The fact is that a private photographer was permitted on the premises, and for whatever reason, an unnamed individual, clearly suffering from a mental health episode, decided to physically block members of President Trump's team during a very solemn ceremony." Trump supporters booed a reporter from CNN who asked Senator Vance about the controversy yesterday at a campaign stop.
But to have those 13 Americans lose their lives and not fire a single person is disgraceful. Kamala Harris is disgraceful. We're going to talk about a story out of those 13 brave, innocent Americans who lost their lives. It's that Kamala Harris is so asleep at the wheel that she won't even do an investigation into what happened, and she wants to yell at Donald Trump because he showed up. She can go to hell.
As you heard there, Vance supporters started chanting USA after Vance told the vice president what she could do. He then addressed the controversy around this alleged clash with the cemetery official. The altercation at Arlington Cemetery is the media creating a story where I don't think there is one, he said. Vance said that the campaign had received approval to have a photographer on site and that the families of the slain service members had invited President Trump to be there. He said that's not an insult to the memories of their loved ones. They wanted Donald Trump to be there, and thank God we have a president who wants to stand with our veterans instead of one who wants to run away from them, he said. He added that veterans and their families probably cared more about former President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris failing to hold the military accountable after those 13 service members lost their lives. Trump supporters applauded and cheered the vice presidential candidate. The Harris campaign did not immediately react with a response. Of course, Harris in Georgia yesterday to launch a bus tour in some of the areas to try to win support from voters to make the state more competitive for Democrats. Of course, Georgia is going to be play a pivotal role again this year. In the next segment, I've got some response from Georgia Governor Kemp and how he believes that all roads to the White House lead through Georgia this year. And he's probably right. We'll talk about that in just a minute. While in Georgia, Harris plans to record an interview this afternoon to be aired tonight with CNN's Dana Bash. Her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, is expected to be by her side. Meanwhile, the host of CNBC's Squawk Box clashed with Bharat Ramamurthy, an informal economic advisor on Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign. The disagreement was over the Biden-Harris proposal that would tax unrealized capital gains, which the host argued was likely unfair and unconstitutional. Host Rebecca Quick and Joe Kernan pressed Ramamurthy on the proposal, which Quick deemed unreasonable because it would, quote, be pulling forward the taxes that would be paid later when someone sells the stock. She's exactly right. The whole idea of taxing unrealized capital gains is absurd. And if we allow Kamala Harris to do this, shame on us. This is one reason in itself not to vote for Kamala Harris. Reports from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times have said that Harris supports the tax increases put forth by Biden in his recent budget proposal. According to Harris's campaign, it includes a 25% tax on unrealized capital gains for individuals with more than $100 million in wealth and an increased corporate tax from 21% to 28%. The Harris advisor claims a lot of people are already paying a tax on the unrealized gains, and he's not sure what all the fuss is about.
Well, unrealized gains, taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word.
But in the very best
sense, if you are taxing unrealized gains, all you're doing is pulling forward the taxes that would be paid later when someone actually sells the stock.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax. When the value of your home goes up,
it's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way a stock moves, the way something else moves.
That's always the go-to answer.
It's also, property tax is a use tax. You're paying for the schools, you're paying for emergency services. Those are things that make absolute sense.
And sure, and all the revenue that comes in from these unrealized gains taxes and the other taxes in the Harris plan are going to go to creating what she calls more opportunity. It's to make sure that every newborn born in this country gets $6,000.
Using the services.
Well, look, you're arguing that this is some sort of foreign concept that's completely unknown in the U.S. tax code.
It's probably unconstitutional. It's probably, and it was never in anyone's intent to tax.
It's not an income tax,
and it's never going to happen. Probably.
We can only hope that it never happens, and the only way it's probably not going to happen is for Kamala Harris to be retired in November, for us to beat her at the polls. Because if she wins, taxing unrealized capital gains is just the beginning of it. She's going to go after every hardworking American who's working and paying taxes. You're going to have to pay more. Now, I know she says it's going to be only for the wealthy. They're going to come after everybody because of the regulations that they'll impose. The restrictions on businesses is going to further drive up cost on everything that we use. Quick and Kernan quickly disagreed with this guy, as they noted that property taxes were a use tax because they're used for schools and other services, and they're exactly right. We pay property taxes on our homes so that we can be provided with fire protection, police service, in some cases, trash removal. But to have to pay on unrealized gains, what this means is, as your home is reassessed by the county, and when it goes up, you're going to have to pay tax on that as if you sold your house and you made money on it. It is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. This Harris advisor argued that when the value of a person's home goes up, they pay higher taxes even if they choose not to sell their home. That's true, higher property taxes. But again, and look, nobody likes those. But again, we're getting something in return, at least, because in return for paying those taxes, we get services. Overall, the unrealized gains tax, along with the substantial capital gains tax increase, which, by the way, will discourage businesses from investing in upgrades and expansions, which will lead to job losses. You know, all these people who are so critical of the wealthy of these big companies, they have never employed a person in their life. Think about it. Kamala Harris has been, just like Joe Biden, she has worked for the public her entire career, just as Joe Biden did for 40 plus years. They've never employed anyone. They've never had to sign a paycheck. And they think that they know better, that they can tax these companies, make them pay a higher burden. Your comments are welcome on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line. 71307, emails joey@joeyhudson.com. Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Firmin Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. PhD Weight Loss wants you to know, yes, you can. You can get back to your ideal healthy weight. Yes, you can get back into sizes you thought you'd never see again. And yes, you can get rid of that harmful belly fat, all without becoming dependent on medication loaded with side effects. Hi, it's Joey Hudson here. PhD Weight Loss encourages and equips you to lose weight the healthy, natural way and keep it all for the rest of your life. Dr. Ashley Lucas, a licensed registered nutritionist, developed a solid plan that works. Trust me, I lost 30 pounds. You see, PhD Weight Loss removes the guesswork. They literally tell you exactly what to eat each day while you watch the pounds melt away. But they also teach you to think about food differently and to learn to anticipate and navigate situations that make you want to indulge. PhD coaches will teach you to believe finally that yes, you can do it. With no gimmicks or lifelong medications, finally lose the weight and keep it off. Yes, you can. Call today. PhD Weight Loss, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. As the official campaign season is set to kick off this weekend over Labor Day, presidential campaign strategists are already counting votes, electoral college votes, as we get into the final stretch of this election year. And what an important year it is, as you know. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp insists that the road to the White House is going to run through Georgia, and that either party can't win without Georgia. Kemp, of course, the two-term governor, depending on who you're talking about or who you're talking to, he's popular to some, others not so. Some say that he's conservative, others don't think so. But the fact remains, he is a two-term governor. He won re-election with a landslide, even facing a Donald Trump-backed David Perdue. So let's listen to the man. Let's help him help us win in November. The governor recently on a Fox News show, again, stressing the fact that he believes there's no path for former President Donald Trump to win, or any Republican, he said, to get to the 270 electoral votes without winning Georgia. He was interviewed on the eve of Vice President Harris's two-day bus swing through Georgia this week. Appearing on Fox News, the Georgia governor said his state should be one that we win if we have all the mechanics that we need, and I'm working hard to help provide those in a lot of ways and turn the Republican vote out. He said, it's my belief that we cannot afford 4 more years of President Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, which I think would probably be worse than even Biden and Harris were. The governor was interviewed a couple of days after President Trump praised Kemp in a social media post. Trump said, for all of your help and support in Georgia, where a win is so important to the success of our party and most importantly, our country, I look forward to working with you, your team, and all my friends in Georgia to help make America great again. Now, the comments from Trump were somewhat a change in his tune when it comes to Brian Kemp. Fox News political correspondent Jonathan Erie did a great piece yesterday pointing out the importance of winning Georgia, number one, but talked about the renewed enthusiasm that Kamala Harris has brought to the race in just a few weeks. And he points out, too, how Governor Kemp and President Donald Trump have pledged to work together.
Former President Trump appears to be making amends with Georgia's popular Republican governor, Brian Kemp, who has offered his political apparatus to the campaign.
If we turn our people out and vote from the top of the ticket on down, we're going to put Georgia back in the red column for a presidential race, unlike we did in 2020.
He said he wants Trump to win, and he's going to work with me 100%.
Those warm comments come less than 3 weeks after the former president attacked Kemp at a rally in Atlanta.
You know, Fannie Willis is a good friend of your governor. You know that? Your governor. I'm not a fan of your governor.
Some Georgia Republicans blame Mr. Trump's comments like that for losing both of the state's U.S. Senate seats to Democrats in 2020. Former Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, who endorsed Kamala Harris at the Democratic National Convention, tells Atlanta Civic Circle the only thing that makes Georgia a swing state is Donald Trump. Every time he endorses somebody or he's involved in a race himself, it's either close or he loses.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to officially nominate Kamala Harris for president.
From its lively roll call to its long list of prominent speakers, Georgia's high profile at the DNC reflects the party's renewed optimism. Emory political science professor Andra Gillespie says Kamala Harris's entry into the race has motivated many Georgia Democrats not just to vote, but to join the campaign.
If she can sustain that interest in volunteering, they are going to register new voters and they're going to remind those voters to turn out to vote.
According to the Fox News Power Rankings, Georgia leans Republican, but a New York Times Siena College poll taken just before the convention shows Harris narrowing Trump's lead in the state to within the margin of error.
Now, Trump's relationship with Georgia and with Brian Kemp specifically has been somewhat unique in the past few years. For years after the 2020 loss to Joe Biden, and let's put aside the speculation that Joe Biden, whether or not he really won, the fact is he's in the White House now. It was a razor-thin loss in Georgia. And yes, if we had had a little better operation in Georgia, a little better voter security, maybe things would have turned out differently. But again, that's the past. We're looking to November in the future. Trump has attacked Kemp for failing to overturn the election results, which he thinks was not fair. Now, he toned down his criticism somewhat after 2022 when Kemp crushed his candidate. Donald Trump campaigned multiple times for Senator David Perdue in the state's GOP gubernatorial primary. It wasn't even a race. Brian Kemp easily defeated David Perdue. Earlier this month, Trump went on a 10-minute tirade against Kemp. This was at a rally in Atlanta, literally blocks from the Georgia State Capitol. Trump blamed the governor not only for failing to overturn the 2020 vote, but also for not stopping a county prosecutor from indicting the former president for his attempts to reverse the results. He's talking about Fannie Willis, of course. Trump said he's a bad guy, he's a disloyal guy, and he's a very average governor. Little Brian Kemp, bad guy. Now, Kemp told Fox News, quote, I'm not sure exactly what happened going into the rally. I've seen a lot of stories and people's explanations of what happened. To me, that was a small distraction that's in the past. Kemp said Republicans need to stay focused on the future. I would agree with him on that. He said we need to be telling people why they should vote for us and what we're going to do to make things better than they are right now. And there's a host of issues that I think you could contrast Kamala Harris and her record. He said to me, that's what we need to stay focused on, not some dust up from 2 or 3 weeks ago or even years ago. Asked about Trump's reversal last week, Kemp said, quote, you have to ask him those questions. I've been consistent for really the last couple of years that I was going to support the ticket, whoever our nominee was in Georgia. That's exactly what I'm doing, and that's what I've been doing, he said. He went on to talk about how he's working hard to build a team that can win Georgia for Trump. I mean, Kemp just last week was on Fox News with Sean Hannity saying, quote, we need to send Donald Trump back to the White House. Asked if he and Trump had connected since last week, he said that he hadn't talked to him, but that he's still dedicated to pursuing a victory in Georgia. Republican strategists say that to recapture Georgia, Trump will need Kemp's assistance as well as his well-oiled and funded political machine to turn out the GOP voters. It appears that Kemp's going to do that regardless of what kind of relationship he has with Donald Trump. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse are proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself if you're looking for a new appliance to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Firmin Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, Joey at joeyhudson.com. The Supreme Court rejected the Biden-Harris administration's request to get rid of an injunction from an appeals court that put a hold on the administration's SAVE plan, which would exempt student loan borrowers' income from their repayment obligation. If you've listened to me for any length of time, you know how I feel about student loan debt. When you borrow money, it's real simple. You pay it back. Unless this is you're part of a particular program, like a service workers program, where you were promised if you taught for 4 years in a certain area, or if you served in the armed forces or served in public service, that's okay. But if you simply are looking for a handout because you're tired of paying your student loan back, and you've got a Democrat president who is trying to buy votes, then that's wrong. That's wrong. Pay what you owe. Pay your debts. It's just that simple. In mid-July, the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals put a hold on the Biden-Harris administration's entire student loan forgiveness program after 7 Republican-led states requested that parts of the plan not already be on hold, that they be stayed. The SAVE program, as it's known, is estimated to cost $475 billion over a 10-year period. Senator Bill Cassidy, ranking member of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, said in a response to the appeals court decision, just like Biden's other student loan schemes, this IDR policy does not forgive debt. It transfers the burden of $559 billion in debt from those who willingly took it on to Americans who chose to not go to college or already sacrificed to pay off their loans. And he's right. That's what is so unfair about this whole concept. It's not fair to anyone. If you went to school and you worked hard and maybe your parents sacrificed to help you pay for your education so that you wouldn't have to borrow money, but yet now you're expected to pay somebody else's, to work hard and repay someone else who wasn't as responsible as you. Or maybe you did take out a student loan and you worked hard and you did the responsible thing. You paid it back, just like you promised when you signed on the dotted line. We're going to help you get your education so that you can get a good job. You go to work and you pay us back. And by the way, we're not going to press you on this. You don't have to pay it back tomorrow, not even next week, not even next month, not even next year. We're going to be very liberal with you. In fact, if we happen to have a pandemic, we'll even suspend payments to get you through, which they did. If you're that person and you're continuing to pay, though, with the idea that you're going to pay it off, good for you. Unfortunately, there's too many people out there with their hand out. And back in May, President Biden transferred $7.7 billion more in student debt to taxpayers. You and I, we had to pay it because these bunch of deadbeats who took it out didn't want to pay it, and Joe Biden pandering to them because he thought that his name was going to be on the ballot this November, trying to buy votes. Fortunately, the Supreme Court last year struck down Biden's $400 billion student debt forgiveness plan under the HEROES Act. The president immediately announced his plan to defy the highest court's ruling by using the Higher Education Act to wipe out student loan debt. Tried it again, according to the National Review. Thank goodness the court is stopping him from doing this as well. From the New York Post, speaking of Joe Biden, they're asking a very valid question. Where is Joe? In a front and center article yesterday, they talk about President Biden chilling on a Delaware beach during a marathon vacation. Wait, they say, he's still in charge. Who's in charge? Joe Biden has he gave his speech to the Democrat National Convention in Chicago. What was that? Over almost 2 weeks ago now? He left immediately for vacation in Los Angeles, left Los Angeles only to fly back to his Delaware beach home, where he continues to be on vacation, and according to the White House, will be on vacation through Labor Day at least. He was spotted lounging on the Delaware beach yesterday, 81 years old, spent about 2 hours on the North Shores near Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, with First Lady Jill Biden and two of her sisters. According to the New York Post, he looked relaxed in colorful swim trunks, a white T-shirt, and black cap, sitting on a beach chair while combing through documents. Probably some of those classified documents he's trying to decide if he's going to keep there in the garage by his Corvette. It's been nearly 10 days since Joe Biden has been in the Oval Office. Now, you remember when he made his speech to the DNC, how he insisted that he's going to finish out strong. He's got a lot of work to do. And not to even think that he's not going to be around to do it. He's got a lot of stuff he's going to get accomplished before he leaves office in January. According to the Post, he left the White House on August 19th to head to the DNC. He gave his speech that night. Again, headed to Los Angeles. He opted against staying in Chicago for the 3 days for the rest of the DNC. He stayed in California at a $37 million estate of a CEO of a medical technology company. Biden's vacation at the billionaire donor's lavish ranch wrapped up on Sunday when he flew down to Rehoboth Beach, where he has a vacation home, of course. On Labor Day, Biden is scheduled to stump with Harris in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, marking their first joint appearance for a campaign appearance since his vice president ascended to the position of the nominee, where he had expected to be himself. What a change the last month has been for Joe Biden. And look, I get it. If he has to spend some time on the beach. Probably a very disappointing time of his life, knowing that the best part of his life from a pure political standpoint is gone. It's past. In just a few months, either way, hopefully he's going to hand over the reins to Donald Trump. Now, I have a prediction for you. I think Donald Trump's going to win in November. I think, and I honestly don't know if this has ever happened before. We'll have to do a little research to find out for sure. I think Joe Biden will not go to the inauguration of Donald Trump. I think he'll be sick or something. He'll have a reason not to peacefully hand over the reins of power because he can't stand the idea of Donald Trump moving back into the Oval Office. We'll see, but mark this down. August 29th, Joey Hudson predicted Joe Biden will not attend the inauguration of Donald Trump. So what do you think is going on with Joe Biden? I'd love to get your theory. Email me, joey@joeyhudson.com, or you can send me a quick text as well. I mean, it's very odd for a president to do what he's done these past few weeks. Now, speculation, of course, is that Biden's keeping this low-key profile because he's annoyed with fellow Democrats who turned against him, who threw him out, like former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So he's pouting, basically. He's making a statement that I'm not going to do anything that I don't have to support you guys. Now, he is reportedly going to be at a campaign rally on Labor Day with his vice president. We'll see. Although Pelosi didn't join the dozens of Democrats who urged him to publicly throw in the towel, some of her behind-the-scenes work, though, has raised eyebrows. She denies it, but many are giving her the credit for pushing him out. This includes an appearance on MSNBC's Morning Joe, rumored to be one of Biden's favorite political programs, in which Nancy Pelosi suggested it was an open question as to whether he'd remain in the race, despite 2 days earlier the president telling Congress he was firmly committed. Behind the scenes, Pelosi reportedly grilled Biden and some of his aides over the viability of his candidacy. Again, this was after his debacle of a debate back in June. I still can't wait to read the book to find out the true story of what happened with that debate, who convinced him to agree to an early debate. That was an inside job. Somebody set him up. We may not find out anytime soon. Eventually, though, somebody will write a book. They'll be paid thousands of dollars for the advance, and they'll tell the story. They'll tell us what really happened. After departing the convention, after he had made his speech, Biden told reporters, "No, I haven't spoken to her," meaning Nancy Pelosi. "No one made my decision but me. No one knew it was coming." Meanwhile, his vice president is trying to succeed him in the Oval and promises more of the same failed policies. Kamala's idea to fix the economy is to force price fixing on businesses, just like the mandated $20 per hour minimum wage in California. This will have a negative effect. I mean, what do you get when the government interferes with business? I'll tell you what you get. Just like in California, where they forced a $20 minimum wage, you've got fast food restaurants closing almost daily out there now because they can't afford to pay teenagers $20 an hour. The latest, Shake Shack. They announced yesterday they're going to close 6 underperforming California locations. The latest fast food chain to close restaurants after the state enacted its $20 minimum wage. The burger chain, which will close 9 Shake Shacks overall, said the move was a result of a periodic evaluation of its portfolio of company-operated units, according to a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission. It's real simple. You just can't afford to stay in business when you're forced by the government to pay more than what you can actually pay and make a profit. And that's what you get when the government interferes in business. Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Firmin Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you could trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. Texter says, good morning, Joey. Jim Jordan has some really good bark, but unfortunately, he has no bite. This in reference to House Judiciary Committee responding to the revelations from Mark Zuckerberg that he was forced by the White House to censor a lot of posts, millions of posts actually, during the COVID pandemic. Texter, Zuckerberg should put out an apology that posts on every person's Facebook and list out bullet points what he said so the trolls and people like me that got put in Facebook jail for weeks on end. Yeah, you know what? You're right. He does owe an apology to all those that were, you had your account suspended, locked down. In some cases, some people, their accounts were suspended, never to be opened back up, simply because you had posted something about COVID. Now we know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris was pressuring him and his company to try to stifle your speech. Texter, Joey, you have the right to your conservative views, but the Republicans could not find another. But could the Republicans not find another candidate? Convicted felon, sexual assault, insurrectionist, a host of other charges. All MAGA turn a blind eye. What is the obsession? The real reason that they want Trump. We got a troll here, folks. Look, I'll tell you the real reason we want Trump is because we want our country back. Just that simple. Yes, he's had some issues, but a lot of this stuff, the sexual assault, he didn't assault that lady. Think about that for a minute. Even my mother, Nana Hudson, when she heard that, she said, there's no way this happened in a department store. And if it happened all those years ago, why is this lady just now coming forward with it? Because she wants the attention and she wants to try to get some money to shake down Donald Trump. Texter, if Trump is elected president again, will it be the first time a president has served in non-subsequent terms? Actually, no, but give me a minute to tell you who it was. We have had, I think, one other time. Good question. I'll find that for you. Texter, Larry O'Connor says, neither Donald nor Joe has done anything to stop deficit spending. You're right there. You know, years ago, and you probably heard me say this before, when you had conservative Republicans running for the U.S. Congress, one of the things they always talked about, you'd never hear them give us a stump speech when they wouldn't talk about a balanced budget. That was just standard practice for any conservative Republican candidate for the U.S. House or the U.S. Senate, and in most cases, even for state office, local office. We're going to balance the budget. Well, you know, a lot of state budgets, the state constitution requires them to balance it. Same thing with most local governments. Unfortunately, we don't have that at the national level. And we don't have even conservative Republicans talking about balancing the budget. Is almost as if they have given up the idea that it can even happen. But you're right. They both deficit spend. The texter goes on to say, government selling T-bonds to scrape in cash for deficit spending. T-bonds must be outlawed. The debt from selling T-bonds will strangle us if not stopped yesterday. You're right. I mean, the amount of money that we spend on interest is just nuts. Texter, Joey, Kamala doing interview with her vice president just goes to show you. Her campaign has no faith in her answering questions, but then again, it's CNN's Dana Bash, same lady who asked Biden what was his favorite flavor of ice cream. Well, you're right to a degree. Look, the whole idea that she will only agree to do a debate on CNN is just crazy. She should do one on CNN. She should do one on Fox, and then maybe one of the other major networks, maybe NBC or ABC or someone. But to just do it on CNN and not agree to the others are wrong. But I'll say this, though. Dana Bash has a lot of pressure on her. She really, you know, we had these same concerns with her back in the June debate with Biden and Trump, and she did pretty good. Now, there were instances where she could have been a little stronger on Biden, but overall, she didn't just lob softball questions at him. In fact, it led to him dropping out of the race. Texter says the Harris flip-flops are just lies. She needs to change the story to get votes. If she's the next president, she'll do all she said before. She's a liar, and it's proven. It's all about getting the votes, then she'll do what she really wants or what her handlers want. Not sure she's smart enough to do anything at all without the behind-the-scenes directions. I'm sure she has. She's a cackling puppet. And you're right. Look, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. And we know who she is. You can look back. I shared with you some yesterday. If you missed yesterday's show, go back and listen to the podcast. Just search for Just the Truth. Joey Hudson, Just the Truth, wherever you listen to podcasts or on the Odyssey app. If you missed any of yesterday's show, because I shared this with you, that all the instances where she has flip-flopped, where she has said one thing, and we used just her voice, where she said one thing and has done the other. So no, we can't trust her. She'll do whatever she thinks her progressive cronies want her to do. And even some of the progressives have said that she'll be the most progressive president in history. Texter, this is Dom from Illinois, says, "Hi, Joey. You're talking about air tags and finding missing mail. In Chicago yesterday, a mother located her child that did not show up for the first day of school." And he sent me a link to this story. The story is from DeKalb, Illinois, thanking Apple AirTags for helping to locate her child, who was among 2 kindergarten students that went missing on a school bus on the first day of school this week. How do they disappear on a school bus? The story says, though one of the parents is viewing the device designed for use to track baggage as a lifesaver, others are questioning its use to track children. Shannon Stoker is the mother of a 6-year-old student at Founders Elementary School in DeKalb, said that a school board meeting was underway when she was notified that her son hadn't been in school all day. Stoker told the police that her son had an air tag with him, which tracked his location in real time and showed that he was still on a school bus. In response to the incident, the school district said that the child had been confused with another student and was under supervision for the entire day. Apple has previously emphasized that AirTags are meant to track devices and not people. In a statement, a technology expert, Juan Guerrero, said AirTags are meant to track objects and they connect to Apple's smart devices. Though the convenience of AirTags is undeniable, experts urge exercising caution and to weigh the pros and cons, particularly considering the risk of hacking. He said any tech device can be hacked. It all depends on how secure the password is. Experts offer the following tips for thinking about using AirTags for children. Battery life, they talk about geofencing. With the Find My app, you can set up geofenced areas around places like your home or school. And, of course, privacy and know the laws depending on where you live. In the case of the 2 kindergartners who went missing in DeKalb, the school district issued an apology for what they called failures at almost every single level. I'm just happy that the kids were found safe. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, find me on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Joey Hudson. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. Be sure and forward this edition of Just the Truth to some friends. Just click on the share button. Send it to a few of your contacts, because if we're going to build our community and if we're going to win in November, we got to build an army of conservatives. The way we beat Joe Biden is through educating people, and no better way than encouraging them to listen to Just the Truth. Hey, keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails always welcome as well. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the MyPillow special, $25 for the My Towels 6-piece towel set when you use promo code Joey. Just go to MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. We're back again tomorrow. Hope you will be too. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.